Hey everyone, welcome to the Brandon Kirk Show. Today I want to talk to you about something I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I've even made a bunch of notes. I'm going to be referring to them because when I started writing this out, it just became so much information I wanted to share with you. But I want to talk to you about a concept and an action that literally changed my life. And if it applies to you, I think it could change your life as well. And the concept is change your name, change your destiny. So, my name is Brandon James Kirk, but that's not the name I was born with. In fact, I had a completely different last name, and Kirk used to be my middle name. And I didn't like my name growing up. So, my closest friends, my family, people who know me from school, they know what my old last name used to be, and I'll just say it was a source of frustration. It was a name that was very easy for people to make fun of. And then when I had to spell it out for people, that just increased my frustration and my embarrassment at my name. And I didn't feel confident and I hated it. So one night, many years ago, I was sitting down talking with a friend's mom. We were just chilling out in the living room. She's an old Cherokee woman. And I told her how much I hated my name. I hate my last name. It's embarrassing for me. People make fun of it. And it just affected who I was as a person. And I felt like it was going to affect me for the rest of my life. And she said 6 words. And these 6 words have stuck with me for a long time. And they were change your name, change your destiny. And I was like, what? Say that again. She was like, change your name, change your destiny. And I was like, wow, that's pretty deep. And I thought about that. And those words stuck with me for several years. For like 2 years, I thought about it. Change your name, change your destiny. Change your name, change your destiny. And I thought about it and the implications of what would happen if I did change my name, what reactions my family would have, and that other people would have if I changed the name that they had known me for my whole life. And I thought about this for a long time, but then one day in November of 1991, I simply drove myself down to the courthouse. I filled out the paperwork to change my name. I turned it in. I went and talked to the judge briefly, and he signed the order. And I didn't bother to ask anyone's permission. I didn't ask for anyone's input in my family. I didn't even tell them what I was doing. I just came home. I dropped the judge's order on the table and says, my name is now Brandon James Kirk. So I took my middle name as my last name, and I took James as my new middle name. And that was an acknowledgement, really, of some people I cared about. One was my great uncle, James Kirk, from Scotland. And then I've also got my stepfather, whose middle name is also James. And I said, that really fits. That's a good name. And yeah, I'm a Star Trek fan as well. So Brandon James Kirk, they kind of fit, and I've loved it. In fact, I always felt from my childhood that Kirk should have been my last name all along. So I went and did that. I didn't tell anyone. I dropped the paperwork, and then now my mom was shocked. She was like, "You did what?" I'm like, "Yeah, I changed my name." And she was shocked that, number one, I didn't consult her. I didn't tell her what I was going to do. I just came home and said I had done it. And I know she would have been pleased if I had, taken my stepfather's last name, and that's fine. I mean, he's got a good last name, but it wasn't the one I thought I should have always had. So that's what I went with. And that's why I didn't ask for anyone's input, because I didn't want anyone changing my mind from what I knew I wanted my name to be. And I honestly believe if I had had a better last name growing up, that I would have had a better childhood. I believe that my dad's military career, although it was exceptional, I think it could have been so much better if he had had a different last name than the one he had, because it was 10 letters long. It was, you had to keep spelling it for people, and it was easy to make fun of. So, and I believe that I would have been more confident growing up if I had been born with a different name. So that's what led me to do it. Now, over the 2 years that I sat thinking about changing my name and changing my destiny, after what my friend's mom told me, I thought about all the people who had changed their names and had changed their destiny. And this went all the way back to the Torah, what most people know is the Old Testament, the first part of the Old Testament, the Torah. And I just think about the people whose names changed. Sarai became Sarah. Abram became Abraham. Jacob became Israel. And that changed things for his descendants as well, because they were no longer just the sons of Jacob. They were now the children of Israel. And that was pretty profound. And then I got to thinking, what about the Queen of England? When she was took her coronation, her name changed. Every time a new pope comes in, their name changes. They don't just go in with their name. They become, like Pope John Paul. Well, his name was like Carol, Y.O. Tyler. I can't even say it properly, but that was his name. And then all of a sudden, no, he's Pope John Paul, and he changed his name. And when these people changed their names, it signified a change in their status, who they were and who they were going to become. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to change not only in my name, but in my status of who I was as a person and where I was going to go, where that name was going to take me. All right, so that's a lot of why I did it. And I thought about that, but think about that. When you change your name, you change your status. And people who are getting married, when you typically get married, the wife takes on the husband's name. And it's not, she now becomes, Mrs., whatever the last name is. And that also signifies a change in their status. All right, so that's kind of where I'm going with this. For me, the name change signified that I was no longer going to be, this self-doubting, insecure, and, very defensive person. And I basically become a very confident, self-reliant person, very much more approachable than I used to be. And yeah, there's still some barriers up, and I've still got some, some defensiveness, but nowhere near what I used to have. And that's just because, I've experienced some things, and, I'm always a little bit on guard. But the name change had future implications for me that I hadn't even considered. I didn't even know just how important this name change was. What I didn't know is that what I did know is I didn't want to saddle my future wife and my future children with a name that I grew up hating, and I didn't want them to have to deal with the same things that I did. What I also didn't know, though, was that my wife, very young when she was in her childhood, she had determined in her mind that she was going to marry a man with blue eyes. And she was going to marry a man with only 4 letters in his last name. And there's no way I could have known that. And she also had a very long last name, and she hated having to spell it out for people. But she always knew, when I grow up, I'm going to marry a man with 4 letters in his last name. There's no way that I could have known this. I didn't even know her when I decided to change my name and change my destiny. And if I had not changed my name, say, 7 years earlier, if I hadn't changed my name, I may have missed out on the love of my life. So it's amazing the things when you go to change your name, to change your destiny and to change who you are and where that name is going to take you, you have no idea what further future implications that is going to have in your life and where it could lead you. So what I want to tell people is, if you're unhappy with your name, if you've got a name that you don't like, you're not proud of, people make fun of it, you're tired of spelling it for people and just dealing with that whole mess, you might want to consider change your name, change your destiny. I hope that helps. You guys have a great day.